All right. Let's go ahead and get things started very shortly, everybody. Make sure things on YouTube are straight. Ooh, turn that down. All right, guys. Again, sorry for the wait, or sorry for the late analysis. I thought I had done. I honestly thought that I had made one earlier today, but unfortunately, the way how that went, my mic was just, it sounded terrible. So just had to, hop up on a new one. So let's go ahead and get this started. What's going on, everybody? What's going on? It's your boy ABK, and thank you for checking out another one of my weekly Forex and cryptocurrency analysis. I do appreciate it. So first and foremost, let's go over the news. The news is going to be happening this Tuesday and Wednesday. There's going to be news. 7:30 a.m. is going to be for U.S. dollar news, core retail sales and retail sales. 12:30 p.m. Central Standard Time is going to be U.S. dollar. Federal Chairman Powell, whatever his name is going to be speaking. New Zealand dollar, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time is going to be official cash rate and monetary policy statements with the rate statements. And at 10 p.m., this is what you would want to watch for, is the press conference, because with that press conference, that's what they're going to explain or go into further detail of what the rate statement and the monetary policy statement is. Wednesday, you have GBP news at 1 a.m. with the CPI, and 7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, Canadian dollar CPI as well. U.S. dollar, you have FOMC meeting minutes, and 8:30 p.m. on Wednesday, we have unemployment and employment change on Australian dollar. So with that being said, let's go on over to these charts. So I've already really did this whole analysis, so I'm not really going to change anything that is written down. Because, like I said, I've already done it, and I mean, I don't want to repeat myself. Well, I'm not gonna repeat myself, but I don't want to just keep, I don't want to change anything that's here, right? So I'm just gonna go over it. Weekly time frame on the U.S. dollar on the DXY. I like this weekly candle, how it closed, for a potential continuation for the bear push to the downside. However, I do see equal highs up here, right? Which can be a possibility that price can definitely go up, grab liquidity, and push down, retrace, and continue to the downside, right? That's something that I'm going to be aware of. However, I am still feeling bearish on the DXY. I still want the DXY to push down to 90.600 for me to go bullish overall, right? So that's what I'm still looking out for. With that, when I come over to the daily time frame, the fib that I had here, it was showing that, okay, wherever the DXY starts to stop at, like let's say the DXY stops here, especially with this bearish engulfing candle, I like seeing that bearish engulfing candle right there. I want to see that retracement back up to 92.976 or 92.977 right here, wherever. And that's where I'll be looking to potentially get into a sell on the DXY, on the dollar pairs, and then have it continue coming to the downside, right? That's what I'm looking for. And overall, this was the move that I was speaking on about, that I think that this is what the DXY might play out to do to get down there. Is if I draw the fib from this high to this low, this is where the supply zone is at, for price to just trickle on up a little bit. Went a little higher than what I had wanted it to do, but overall, if, like, let's say for example, if you were in this trade, you would still be in the trade. You would just be in some drawdown if you would have gone into the 71% or the 61.8% fib, right? So that's what I'm looking at for the DXY. I still wanted to push to the downside, but again, like I mentioned, I do want to see on the lower time frames this happen first. I want to see that retracement to the upside and then a continuation to the downside. So that's what I have for the DXY on technical analysis. Let's go on over to arbitrage. All right, so arbitrage. I was saying on the 4-hour time frame that I wanted to see this retrace to the upside and then continue pushing to the downside, which is the same thing as what I had for my technical analysis. So nothing's really changed for me there. However, the daily time frame is holding right at this RSI line, so I do want to be careful. I do want to be careful with how the price is here, because then it's like, okay, if price does indeed bounce up, then it can continue going bullish. And I mean, the DXY, I am bullish over on it, right? It's just that I want the retracement first before I get the buys. And we already have the buy call right here. It's retesting the RSI line. If there was a time, if I was just trading arbitrage, I'd be like, I'm not going to get into anything on the daily because it just looks like price is going to go bullish, So just being patient, waiting for that retracement before I look to start really looking for sells on the DXY. So I'm watching this 4-hour time frame here. I'm going to set an alert. I think I have it set. Let me make sure. DXY. No, I do not. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and set an alert. And it's going to be for the DXY to retest the RSI line. Only once, then create. So once price comes up to the RSI line, it will send me an alert, and I will be looking to look for sales from there. So let's go on over to Euro USD. Euro USD, the exact opposite of what I have here for the DXY. I wanted to push to the downside first before going bullish, and overall I want to see price come up over here to these highs of 1.18437 or 1.18585, and then continue with the downtrend. Well, actually, no, not really. I don't really want it to continue with the downtrend. Not necessarily. I want it to actually come up to 1.2100 still. That's what I'm looking at long-term wise, and I mentioned the same thing last week. But just based off of how the price action is looking, I'm not so certain that's going to happen. Even with the volume, with how this is looking, I'm not so certain if we're going to get this pricing. So I'm going to wait and see how things play out overall with the DXY. Because with the DXY, like I said, I do want to see price end up coming down to this low. Like, no doubt, I want it to come to these lows. However, the way how the price action is looking, it could definitely make a push to the upside. Like, it could definitely take from this low to this high, coming over to where my targets are, and then go bullish. So gonna wait and see what the DXY is doing. But I mean, like I said, overall I am bullish, but that retracement to the downside, the more price prolongs up here and I see these equal highs, the more I don't think it's gonna happen quite yet. So let's see what happens with the DXY, but I definitely want that retracement and continue taking price to the upside. Even if it's just to up here, or if price does indeed continue going bullish and goes on up to 1.2100, that's fine. But I want the retracement regardless on Euro USD. So, oops. So this is what I have here. All right. So that's what I have. My alert is set at 1.17. Arbitrage. Same thing on the 4-hour time frame. I want the retracement. This I know I have an alert set for sure. Daily time frame, very much still calling for sells. I know the weekly time frame has been calling for sell for some weeks now, but price is rejecting off of this mean line. So if I can still get that retracement to the upside, then the continuation to the downside, I'm here for it. But I'm playing off of this 4-hour time frame on the DXY and Euro USD right now. That's what I'm looking at personally for these USD pairs. AUD USD, I was saying that I really don't see that much here. I just want to see a breakout between any of these two levels. This looks like a bear flag, that is just price is respecting, but I just want to see price breakout either below this demand zone or above the supply zone. I'm just not really interested in trying to trade this, because if I play it from this high to this low, it looks like price just bounced off the 61.8 and it could potentially go to the downside. Or if I played from this bullish move to the upside and then price rejecting from down here, this it looks like it just went bullish and it could continue going bullish. So like I said, I want to see a breakout of either side, because I just don't want to, like, I see the bear flag and the bear flag would make me want to sell, but I don't want to sell down here. I want to sell up here. So I'm just being patient and waiting on AUD USD, not necessarily trying to trade it. And same thing, 4-hour time frame, this looks terrible. I need a breakout for me to try to trade that. Daily time frame, it looks like it's setting up for a potential buy, if anything. So, like I said, I gotta wait for that. The weekly time frame, however, it's been rejecting off of this mean line over here. And let me get rid of this. It's been rejecting off of this mean line over here, and I still want to see this come up and retest this RSI line over here where this support or resistance is at. So once I see something like that happen, that's when I'll really be like, okay, now I want to sell AUD USD. But until then, I'm just being patient on AU. All right, USHEF. Let me see what I have here. Daily time frame. Okay, so I think I'm gonna have to hide this real quick. So overall, what I'm looking for on USHEF this week is for me to try to get into a trade or anything like that, because I did have a sell up here. I want to see price come up and retrace up to 0.92150, and then I'll start to look for sells to the downside. Now, I did, where is it? Right here. Let me hide that. So I did mention about this potential, I did mention about this buy right here that price did reject down here very nicely, then went bullish. So for price to come down and go and sell, it's kind of just, it's not, I'm not going to say it's wishful thinking. It's based off of how the DXY is moving more of, because even the DXY, like I said, it looks like that it could just potentially go for a retracement and sell real quick, but then end up going bullish overall, That's why I'm kind of waiting to see if that's what's going to happen with USHEF, right? Because if this does indeed end up pushing to the downside, what I'm looking for is for price to come into, let me hide this fib real quick, is for price to come down into this buy box from this bullish move, and then possibly continue going bullish. That's because that's kind of the same thing what I'm looking at for the DXY. Like, I'm not 100% too sure if it's gonna keep falling any longer, Like, so this is what I'm really watching for. Nonetheless, I'm just gonna wait and see how things play out first. But I am looking for the bearish USHEF, just as I was mentioning last week, right? Let's go on over to arbitrage. Weekly time frame. It's been rejecting off of this mean line for quite some time now, so that's making me really question how well I feel about this weekly being played out right now, right? So I'm just kind of I'm watching how it is, especially with how the weekly closed last week. With the wick like that to the upside, this looks like a shooting star. All I could really look for is sells at this point, right? Daily time frame, I called for a sell down here, but I would not have gone into that. And I'm just waiting at this point to see what price is going to do on the daily as well. I can't personally trade on that. And USHEF, just like how it looks like for EU and the DXY, I just want the retracement and then continuation to the downside. So nothing's really changed, or not nothing's really changed, but viewpoints on the US dollar pairs are basically all the same. So US indices, I mean, I had mentioned it that whichever way price breaks out of, wait for that retracement, then you could possibly get into the buy opportunity. As you can see, price broke through these recent highs, retest, could have got into any. I mean, I would not. I mean, it just doesn't look that great to me personally, but you could have gone into anything over here and then watch price take off. You know, these indices, they're just making higher highs, and as I mention every week, like, you have a better chance at buying these than selling them at any point in time. Just wait for a retracement, buy. I'm just playing. That's not a strategy. That is not a strategy. I'm not endorsing that. I'm just making fun because, and I'm not going on arbitrage because there's no point in me going to arbitrage because it's all gonna just be very bullish. Same thing with the US 30. Just wait for the breakout right here. Price made these extra highs, the retracement, continuation. Like, I've had this marked up for both US 30 and SPX for like the past 2 weeks now. So, like, I haven't changed it. And I can't trade these. Like, they're making higher highs off of zones that I can't even trade off of. So it's like, what's the point of analyzing it, in my opinion, you know? USD Mexican, it played out, if I remember, well, I do remember because I talked about it in my chat. I was saying how when price got up here, I was looking for the sell opportunity because of the head and shoulders that I have here. Price dropped, retraced, hit that 78.6, and then continued to the downside. For me, USD Mexican just looks like it's going to keep falling. That's why I still have this head and shoulders here for, this is like, what, week 2 or week 3 that I have this here. It's just holding at this support down here. I'm not going to try to buy at this support because all I see is price just really falling, pushing to the downside, or even just coming down to grab liquidity, honestly. So that's why I'm just like, with USD Mexican, I'm just like, leaving it alone. If anything, it looks more bearish to me than bullish. And if I go on to arbitrage, 4-hour time frame, very much bearish, although it's rejecting off of the lower danger zone. The weekly time frame, it's called for a buy, but I mean, you see how the bands are. It's just consolidating right here off of that head and shoulders. And then on the weekly time frame, it's still very much bearish after it called this the sell, retrace, continuation to the downside. So I am being extremely patient when it comes to USD Mexican. I'm not even trading it or anything like that, although I've seen opportunities to trade it. Let's go on to Mr. Goldilocks. All right, so gold. One thing that I want to show is that this wick right here that is showing that price came down, back down to this like support or demand zone, whatever you want to call it, man. This does not look to me as if it's a selling market with this wick and the way how the volume came out on the daily time frame for where the wick left off. However, I just have a feeling that wick is going to get filled up. For some reason, I really do feel like that the market doesn't want to necessarily buy, but it doesn't also want to sell either, you know? So I'm still standing by and seeing what this is going to play out to be in daily time frame. For those who caught this retracement, like, yo, y'all caught that. Y'all caught that. But what I would really want to see on gold at this point, for me to get into a sell, is for price to come up to like 1798 or 1799 and then end up pushing to the downside. That's what I would want to see, because, you know, trying to get in at 1786 is cool and everything, but the risk reward at this point, because I'm feeling like this is going to go bullish more than anything, just based off of the weekly time frame. And even if you look right here, this looks like a morning star pattern right here. Bearish move, doji candle, more Bozo candle that's a bullish engulfing compared to this doji candle, and the price kept on going to the upside. Like, price can definitely still keep going bullish. However, even from when price had dropped from right here, it dropped again, it could definitely just do a retracement and then drop one more time type of thing. So I'm really going to see what gold is going to do at these levels, but I'm interested in it. Like, I'm actually going to actively trade gold after me missing a couple opportunities off of it, you know? So, oops, let me go over here real quick and go on over to arbitrage. So weekly time frame I called for the sell, and then the next week it dropped like that, but then that wick again. Very scary wick. That makes me think that the market just wants to push to the upside rather than keep selling, but we will see. Daily time frame, I would not have gone into that sell right there, but it is currently at the lower danger zone, so nothing is there for me quite yet. 4-hour time frame, we do have this buy call, but not really necessarily trying to get into a buy on gold quite yet. I do like how it's at the mean line, but again, based off of how this is, I want price to go up to 1786, or I mean 1798 or 1796. So if price can still keep going to the upside, but a little slower, that'd be cool. So gonna watch that for gold. All right, so Bitcoin. I had mentioned that for a possible margin opportunity, the only thing that I would try to get into for Bitcoin right now at this point is if price did retrace back down to 40,000, then yes, I will indeed try to take it up to like $55,000 or $54,000, right? That's what I'm looking at for a possible margin opportunity, because I don't want to see Bitcoin or the other cryptos dip back down to like the likes of like 33,900 or anything like that. Like, I don't want to see this. This is not what I'm trying to see, really. It's just gonna make me feel a little bit more bearish about the cryptos than I would want to be. However, although this is what I'm looking for this week, for the cryptos to dip down, to continue going bullish. However, I am still concerned about, from this push to the upside to this drop, I'm still watching this supply zone right here. I have to be careful with the supply zone, because I can't just act and sit like that. This doesn't exist, you know. I have to acknowledge it and be like, yo, so if price gets over here, there is a high probability, or there's a higher probability than where price is at right now, for price to continue going bearish. Like right now, price is probably at like the 50% fib or something like that, where there might be some traders who want to trade here, and that's totally fine. That's just their style. My style would be for me to wait for price to climb up a little bit higher. But like I said, I can't ignore that fact exists, that this can sell when price gets up to here. As much as I don't want it to, you know. And I still haven't, like, none of these targets that are from down here, from this oops, hold on. Let me get this back to where I wanted it to be for my trade opportunity that I might be looking for. Where is it? You are way too far out. There you go. Okay, so 40,657 is where my alert's at. Sorry. But if I'm looking at a larger scale from what I've been speaking about, from this push to the down, from this low to this high on the weekly for Bitcoin, none of these targets really necessarily got hit for me. The between 17,000 and 27,000, you know, none of those hit for me. Although we have been talking about these lows down here, that this is a possible place where price could go bullish. But again, the possibility of price coming up to this supply zone and then dropping down to hit these targets, it still exists, and I can't ignore it. As much as I just want these things to go bullish, I have to acknowledge it. So you see how these match up pretty nicely. from the, if it pushes to the downside, the extension would have hit all of my targets, and then that would be a good time for price to go bullish. But again, I'm not real. If price, I'll be more than happy if price just kept going bullish, because I do know that I have some targets that were around this $30,000, $32,000 from that video that I had made months ago. So I'm gonna go over to arbitrage real quick before I go on to Ripple or any of those guys. All right, so not 1 hour, 4-hour time frame. It's been bullish ever since it called it over here. Well, it's been bullish from down here even, but that's besides the point. Daily time frame, it's been bullish as well, and from the looks of it, it just looks like it wants to keep going higher. Quite honestly, it just looks like Bitcoin wants to just keep going higher. And the weekly time frame, I feel like this sell is not going to be called until maybe another week or two for a potential, like, oh, it's going to call for a buy. But again, I have to watch the supply zone right here. I can't ignore it. So again, I mean, last time saying it, I'm watching for this possible reversal here, although I don't think it's going to happen at this point, because Bitcoin just looks like it wants to keep going to the upside. And another thing that I wanted to point out, that the reason why I'm not so optimistic or so crazy about the bullish move is just the volume that the market has down here. I mean, I like this volume that it came down with, so maybe that's what's propelling this move to the upside more. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But still, like, the volume on the lower time frames isn't that exciting to me. To be like, okay, yes, this is definitely gonna keep going bullish. You know, like the volume is just not there. So that's all I have to say on Bitcoins. Going over to Ripple. Ripple, same jazz, guys. Like, I have to really be careful at this. I have to really be careful at this demand zone. I mean, at this supply zone, because up over here at this $1.50 area, that's where price. I know that that's apply. Like, and I had mentioned it on my video that I had made a couple months ago that I had posted last week. That those prices, like, this is a place where if price does decide that it's gonna turn around, that's where the most likelihood is gonna be at, right? And this weekly time frame, it looks amazing. Like, this weekly candle looks amazing. But when you compare it to the other weekly candles, it's not that exciting. It's like, okay, the volume isn't there quite much. It's better than all the rest of the volume that's been there, but it's just not appealing to me. So I had mentioned that I might consider taking some of my crypto profits, like at $1.50, $1.55 or something like that for a Ripple. Maybe, not 100% sure on that, but it is better for you if you've been holding like at the 40 cents or 50 cents. Take some profits, man, because you have actually done something that a lot of other people don't do. You've made money in the crypto markets. If you've taken from the videos I've talked about, if you would have dollar costed averaged at like 70 cents, 72 cents, or even 57 cents. Let's take a look at what the gain of that would be. 57 cents for where price is at right now. That's 128%. You would have doubled your money if you would have gone up from where it wicked up here at basically at $1.35. You would have 135% your money. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to be greedy in these markets. Now, if you have a plan, stick with the plan, of course. But you don't. If like I said, if I see some funny business here, that's why I'll take into very high consideration if I will be taking some of my cryptocurrency profits and looking to put them back in whenever price gets lower, if it does get lower. But price action wise, this weekly time frame is stating that like $2.80 is gonna get hit quick. Or not. Let me not do $2.80 here. Let me show you what the real move is. Boom. $3. Easy money. Very shortly. So if this plays out, $3 is going to get hit. But again, this supply zone. Gotta watch out for it. Alright, going over to arbitrage. Weekly time frame, beautiful, is looking good for the buys. It never called for the sell, so that's solid on arbitrage's end. Daily time frame called for that buy, never gave me the retracement, and it literally did not look back. It said, okay, I'm gonna buy, and bye bye. 4 hour time frame, same thing. Yeah, I called the buy down here. Fake out sell. Well, not necessarily fake. Yeah, I consider it a fake out sell. Then a buy again, went bullish. So that's my take on Ripple and Ethereum. Same thing. Like literally the same thing. I mean, the only target that got reached for my Ethereum was down here at 1745. But again, this demand zone that's here, I cannot ignore it, and I have to be careful with it. Price is starting to creep up at that area. Now I gotta be like, yo, what's good? Because look at the weekly volume. The weekly volume compared to where it was at up here when it was on its rise, and even from when it fell, the volume is not the same. So I gotta watch out for that. Daily time frame. I like how it did indeed go bullish like this, but it's just tricky. It's tricky, you know. So I'm just gonna wait for these cryptos. Like again, if you had watched my video, I mean, it's more for the Ripple lovers. Like Bitcoin didn't hit my targets. I think there was some targets, like I said, at the 34,000 area that I mentioned about. But I mean, we've been talking about dollar cost averaging this whole time, right? So, daily time frame, weekly time frame, all bullish as of right. The weekly time frame for sure is bullish. Like Ethereum, on this, it just bounced off, and it's just cash money, honestly, on the weekly time frame. Daily time frame called for the buy, never gave me an opportunity to get in, but it's okay. And 4 hour time frame, it might be trying to set up for a sell, but I don't know. This looks like it's just going to keep going to the upside, in my personal opinion. So let's see what happens. GBP USD, back to the Forex pairs. Weekly time frame, I'm going to have to hide my drawings because there's a lot of drawings there. Weekly time frame doesn't look that appealing to me. Appetizing. It doesn't look that appealing to me to say that it wants to continue going bullish nor bearish. It just looks like a lot of indecision is there. Daily time frame, you had a bullish candle, then you had a bearish candle, then you had a bullish candle. It looks like tweezer bottoms right here, so price can possibly go bearish. No, I said that right the first time. Price can potentially go bullish. Let me go ahead and get the drawings back here and go on to the lower time frame so you guys can make sense. So you guys can see what sense I have over here. So what I was saying is that I wanted to see. Let me get rid of this drawing. The possibility of price coming down, retracing, and then like really taking out these equal highs and then dropping. It exists. That's most likely what's going to happen, right? It's going to come up to like 1.3900 and then end up falling to the downside. However, just based off of, let me go ahead and get rid of that and get rid of all this mumbo jumbo here. Oops. What I could possibly see is from this low to this high, price come up to 1.38150 and then do that move where it takes out these equal highs and then drop. That's something that I could be definitely that's something I'm definitely watching out for, because I'm not necessarily too sure on how I feel about the buys on GPUSD when I've been looking for the sells for quite some time now. So let's see what happens, because from this 71%, it's been doing the digital dash to the downside. So let's see what's going on with that. And also on the daily time frame, it's holding under the 50 EMA. So that's another good potential sign for me for price to keep falling. So Oh, and one last thing, of course, from that, just from the equal highs right there, or yeah, from this high to that low, price is at an area where it could potentially sell off from, realistically. It's just, you just gotta pick your point. You just gotta pick if you would want to try to get into a trade where there's 2 4-hour bullish candles that really went the distance like that, and price has just been bullish right like that, So just gotta be careful out here with what you'd want to try to get into. Going over to GBP/USD. Weekly time frame, it never called for that sell like I wanted to, but I'm still watching for that. I'm still watching for if this is really going to go bearish. It looks like it's setting up nicely for a bear move. This daily time frame, however, looks like this wants to just go bullish with the break and retest. So kind of want to be careful with GU at this point because it just looks like a break and retest move might happen. 4-hour time frame, same thing. It looks like it wants to look for a bullish move, but however, like I said, it looks more like it's just the daily time frame and the 4-hour. They're both lining up for buy, so you want to definitely watch out for. You want to watch out for that. And again, there's those tweezer bottoms as well that happen on the daily. There's a lot of signs that are pointing that this might go bullish, especially with how this market looks. Yeah, it's not that good for the. It's not looking good for the sellers over here. Let's go over to GA. GA, last week I had mentioned that I was still looking for this same move where price came up to 71% and then dropped. It indeed did that. My stop losses that break even. I've taken most of my profits off of this trade because I do know that the fact that this can't be a possibility exists where price comes back up. Let's say it comes up to like 1.88787 and then falls again. I know that exists, or even back up to 1.88900. So just watching to see what the retracement is going to look like before I try to play anything off of GA. Honestly, daily time frame looks like it's setting up for a buy on arbitrage, but I'm not looking for that right now. Just be patient. 4-hour time frame. 4-hour time frame, RSI line and the mean line are right there, but the way how the bands look, I'd rather just kind of leave this alone. I do want the bears way more than the bulls, quite honestly, but again, I would just leave that alone right now. The market opened right here, and it's just been bullish ever since. So be careful with that. Be careful with GA. Like I said, I want that retracement, the continuation. It could literally stop right here where it's at. Like, let's just say from this high to this low. See where it's stopping at. It could stop here, but it just depends if you want to play that move or not, So GBPJPY, I had mentioned about this sell, and it looks like price wants to keep going to the downside, and I am more than happy with that. Keep on going, young fella. 1-to-1 still has not been hit though. We still have, there's 137 pips that we risked. We still have a little ways to go. I suggest moving your stop loss to break even at this point. 124 pips. It's very close to there. I talked about this last week, so I can't really necessarily try to give. I mean, I'll give the flip side of things, like the opposition. Like, from this low to this high, price can definitely hold where it's at currently, and then make a retracement, and then continue to the downside, which is kind of what I see happening, realistically speaking, because. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame, actually, so I could illustrate this better. I could definitely see that happening because from that high to this low, let's just say if price stops here, the retracement that I'm looking for is literally near where my entry is at. So just be careful for those who move your stop loss to break even. I would suggest taking some partial profits here. I mean, why not? And let's see what happens with it. I don't know why this is in green. Arbitrage, 1 hour, 4 hour, I'm pretty sure they're all bearish right now. Daily time frame is probably, yeah, daily time frame is starting to set up for a sell. Now the weekly still has a lot more to go for this sell. But again, like I mentioned with this wick here, I felt like price might end up trying to go fill it up. Let's see if it does that. If it doesn't, then again, the possibility of price going bullish from here, it does exist. And last but not least, Euro GBP. I had mentioned last week that, oh, this can be doing something like what EU was doing, whereas it comes down and takes out. Let me go to the weekly. Oh, I had deleted it. Where it took out those lows, although this is like a huge inverted head and shoulders, it takes out these equal lows down here, goes bullish, which it has done, goes bullish, and now what I would want to see, sorry, let me just show it right here. Stop hunt, goes bullish, retracement, and then a continuation to the upside. If that retracement happens, most likely GBP, JPY, and GU are going to go bullish as well. So that's one thing that you want to watch out for. And, of course, before I get off, let me go ahead and show the opposition of EG, where it could literally just bounce off of the 61.8 and continue going bearish, which will then have GBP, JPY, and GBP USD continue going bullish. Usually, not saying that's always going to be the case, but that's what usually happens. So, with that being said, is there any questions or anything like that that anybody would like to ask me? Alright, doesn't look like it. If that's the case, then I'm going to go ahead and hop off. Again, I do apologize for any inconveniences that I may have given anybody for my late analysis. But with that being said, let's go ahead and make some money this week. Later, y'all.